It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Maine head softball coach, Mike Coutts. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I hope you're doing great too, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me a little bit today.
You're welcome. Can you talk about your coaching experience and where you got started at?
Whew, that's a good one. I mean, I think I'm a unique person in the fact that I've probably coached at every level, from T-ball through middle school, through Legion ball, through high school, through Division I baseball, Division I softball. I've coached in the Cape Cod League in the summertime. I've coached in the Alaska League. I've coached in the NECBL. I feel like if there's been a place to coach, I've probably coached at it. Next summer, I'm going to coach in a new Carolina College Softball League that they're getting ready to start, which is going to be an exciting time. So, to be honest with you, I just have always wanted to be a coach. I know when I was in high school and then originally went to college, the coaching was in my future. I actually went back to my high school that I went to and was a phys ed teacher, and I spent 3 years there and then decided at that point that, this isn't really what I want to do. I need to go back to school and get my master's degree and start coaching. And I went back to Maine after having graduated and started as a grad assistant baseball coach, and then it's kind of just taken off from there.
That's a wonderful career. Can you talk about coaching at the high school, Deering High School?
Yep. Deering was actually my second stint in high school. I actually spent a couple years coaching my alma mater, Edward Little, and I had a training center in Portland called Frozen Ropes, and the job at Deering opened up, and I wanted to get back into coaching because I knew that was my passion. So I went to Deering and actually coached there for a couple of years. I was fortunate my first year. We won a state championship. The seniors on that team had actually won 3 straight state championships and had won, when we won the state championship in that year, it was their 50th straight game that they had won. So it was exciting to be part of that and to be part of that crew and so forth. And then the next year in 2010, as it turned out, we lost our first game of the year. So the winning streak ended. But nonetheless, we had a great year. And then the year after that, I went to Scarborough and coached for a couple of years because that's where I was living. And I thought it was important for me to be the head coach in the town that I was living in. And I had a son growing up in that town, and I should be involved in baseball there as opposed to being involved in baseball over in Portland, which is where Deering was located. So that's kind of how that worked out.
Can you talk about starting off as an assistant coach for the baseball team and then making your way to the head coach for the baseball team of Maine?
Yeah, well, I ended up a couple of things. I mean, I ended up being 11 years as the associate head coach of baseball at the University of Maine. And then my wife and I, who worked at the university, we left to open up a training center. And then I had tried for a lot of years to get back into coaching after leaving it to open the training center. And it was just really, really hard to get back into it. And then my wife got an opportunity to be the softball coach at the University of Maine. And after the first year, because I just wanted to get back into college coaching so bad, she hired me as her assistant coach. So I actually worked for my wife for 2 years. She was the head softball coach and I was the assistant softball coach. And then our athletic director at the time asked her to move into administration. And she thought she wanted to get into administration. So she went to be an administrator here at Maine, and I ended up being the head softball coach. So that's kind of how that all worked out.
How is it like coaching alongside your wife?
It was great. I mean, I know I've got a lot of friends that would probably say I was out of my mind, but we had always worked together. Our early days here at Maine, we both were coaches. We owned training centers together, so we worked together in the training center world. We're both passionate about coaching, so it wasn't hard at all. The thing that worked out really great for us, the things that she was really strong at, I probably wasn't, and the things that I was strong at in terms of coaching and communicating, she probably wasn't. And she'd always been a pitching coach, and I was always a hitting coach. So it actually worked out really well. And we're hoping at some point that we can get back together again and coach together.
Can you talk about your experience at the baseball program?
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate at one, being a Maine kid, to be able to play at the University of Maine. 1981, we played in the College World Series, and then the program went on a run of 4 straight years. So from 81 to 84, they played in the College World Series, and then again they played in 86. So I was part of that. And like I said, to be a kid growing up in Maine and to play at the state university and to play in the College World Series, where people were like, how do people from Maine get to the College World Series, was awesome. And then to be able to come back and coach baseball at Maine with Coach Winkin, who was a Hall of Fame coach. We played in some regionals and things, but it was at the time too that college baseball had started to change in terms of sending teams to regionals, and then they made super regionals. So it became harder, but man, we were good for a lot of years, and we had some really, really good players. And I would say more than anything, aside from the fact that I was blessed to play in the College World Series, I met some unbelievable people, either playing with them or coaching with them, that are still my friends today. And that's really one of the things about coaching that I enjoy, the relationships that you build over time.
Can you talk about your amazing playing career at Maine?
Well, I don't know if I had an amazing career at Maine. I was fortunate, like I said, to play with a lot of good players. I mean, there were some good people I was around, and we loved being together. We loved going to the field together. I was fortunate to, make some all New England teams and do some things. But I think playing in the College World Series is something that I'll never forget. And to be able to talk about that with kids, either our own players, softball, or my own son, who's played baseball. And the experience that was unbelievable. I know at the time in 81, when we had played Miami, it was a night game. And at the time it was the largest crowd in the history of the College World Series. It was over 17,000 people at the game. And to stand at third base and see that many people that I was going to play in front of was unbelievable. And then I was also fortunate my junior year to play in the Cape League, which is considered the best collegiate league in summer for college players. And to go down there and play with the people that I played with was a great experience. And then that ended up turning into such a great experience. I coached in the Cape League for 6 years. And the people that you meet there, not just the players, but the people that run the organizations, are just fantastic. And it's an experience that any kid that goes to the Cape needs to really appreciate.
That's wonderful that you experienced the Cape League. Can you talk about what you've accomplished on the softball program?
Well, I think you can look at that in a lot of different ways. I think, my first year we won the championship. The second year we lost in the championship. We haven't been back since, but I think more than anything, we've been able to help some kids live out some dreams, graduate from Maine, go on to grad school, be great students. I think the biggest thing that I'm proud of is the fact that we're really, really good academically every year. A couple years ago, we had the 22nd best team GPA of all Division I teams in the country. 19 of our 23 kids that have graduated had a 3.0 or above. 80% of them have gone on to grad school. So academically, we've been really, really good. And that's been a priority of our program all along. And I think the other thing that I'm proud of is just the relationships that myself and my assistant coach, Jordan, have been able to build with our players and help them become strong women and realize that they can go out in the world and have an impact and believe in themselves. So I think there's a lot more than just the winning piece. All the winning's nice, but it's the other things that we've been able to create and develop that have been important.
That's amazing that you've had such a great academic program at Maine. Can you talk about the softball recruitment aspect and what goes into that?
Yeah, I think the one thing about recruiting is that it's never ending. Certainly, it's very challenging now with COVID-19 and the NCAA having a dead period, expanding till December 31st. Everybody's got their different thoughts on about recruiting. I look at it as a challenge. The other thing for us is that, Maine is in a place that not many people probably think about going. They probably don't think about, why would I want to go to Maine and play softball? So we're looking for kids that are, looking for an adventure, looking to challenge themselves, looking to go out and see what the world has to offer, just looking to try something different, and to grow. So, we've got, like, on our roster this year, we've got 4 kids from California. We've got a girl that grew up in Florida, and they're just looking for a change. And, I'm not gonna lie to kids. Like, we have challenges at Maine. We travel a lot. It gets cold here. We have great people on campus. Everybody's friendly. There's no crime. So there's a lot of really, really good things that go into the recruiting process. And we're just looking for kids that want something different, that want to try to challenge themselves and see another part of the country. And, if I've got to convince a kid that they're going to like the cold, I'm probably not going to get them. I'm not going to spend time trying to convince kids that they like the cold. It's more of all the great things that are here, and the challenges that we have every day that really make our program great. And we've been able to recruit some really, really great people here.
Speaking about the challenging of the cold, how do you go about, like, not convincing, but, like, telling people that most of the time it's not cold in Maine?
Well,
only like a few times.
Yeah, I think the thing is you just kind of lay out what the year looks like. Like September and October in Maine, when we're practicing fall ball, it's beautiful here. November and December, mostly the kids are home. Like this year, they're going home November 20th. And then in January, at the end of January this year, when we start school again, we have a big dome that's almost a regulation size softball field inside it. So we're able to go inside and practice. And yeah, it gets cold some days, but the coldest days that we've played in since I've been here have not been in Orono, Maine. They've been in New York, they've been in Connecticut, they've been in other places than they have been here. So it's just what it is. And it depends on what kids are looking for out of their college experience. And we have what we have here. And like I said, the fact that you have to practice indoors, the fact that it's cold, the fact that you have to travel, those are all opportunities for us to get better. Those are opportunities for our kids to grow. Those are opportunities for them to become better friends and to appreciate more of what they have. And those are the things that we talk about with the players.
What do you look forward to accomplishing in this upcoming season?
It's funny. It's been obviously a challenging year. I think, we've lost our season. I think the biggest thing that I want to be able to accomplish this year is I want our players to appreciate the time they have with each other and to appreciate the fact that they get on the softball field and play, and to not waste any time on the field or with each other, because that's really the most important thing. The winning will take care of itself. We've done this thing this year where we have from the time we started practice until the end of the year, we have 37 weeks. So I gave each kid 37 marbles in a jar. And at the end of the week, we talk about, each kid takes a marble out and they talk about their week, what was important in it, how they helped other people, what they want to get better at. And the purpose is for them to see, as their jar reduces the marbles, like that's all the time that's going away. So you have to appreciate that because it goes so fast. And then we put the marbles in a bigger jar and that jar builds up. And what we want them to see there is if we all have really good weeks together and we all appreciate each other, we'll have this huge jar of marbles, but it really represents the time that we've given to each other so that we can have a great season. So that's really the thing that I want them to realize, is that obviously softball can be taken away from us like it was last year, and to appreciate the time that you have with each other, because you won't get it again. And you don't want to look back on any of your days with any regret.
That's a great idea. What advice would you give upcoming high school athletes that are looking to get recruited to the next level on the college softball level?
A couple things. I think one, be patient. Two, get around people that really care about you as a person and want you to go to the school that's going to fit you best as a person, as opposed to finding a school that fits you best as a softball player. As we tell our kids, there's 168 hours in a week. 20 of them are spent on the softball field. You got 148 other hours that you're going to be doing things. So, you got to make sure that you like the school, the location, the kids you're going to be around, and so forth, because there's so little time on the softball field. So be patient, make a good decision. And I've always said to the kids that we recruit, how do you know if the school is right? It's kind of like, how did I know my wife was the right person that I wanted to marry? It just felt right. It'll just feel right to you if that's the school that you should be at. If it doesn't feel right, don't try to force it, because something's telling you that maybe this isn't the right place for me. So those are the things I try to talk to about, with the kids that we've been recruiting.
That's great advice. What advice would you give upcoming high school or even college coaches looking to get into softball?
I'd say probably three things. One, be a life learner. Just continue to learn as much as you can about the game, the mental part of the game, vision training, whatever you can learn that'll help your players. Continue to learn as much as you can. And from that learning, develop a philosophy that's going to fit you and what you believe is important. I think two would be a servant leader. You have to be here to understand that your job is to lead your players and to serve them. It's not to build yourself a great resume so that you can leave. I always say to our players, what can I do for you? This program is about you. How can I help you grow as a person? How can I help you grow as a softball player? How can I help you get what you need to in your life? And then the third thing I'd say, kind of go along those two lines. Your ego is your enemy. If you think you know everything all the time and you're not willing to listen to your players and communicate with them, and your ego is such that I know everything, it's really gonna, as you try to develop relationships with your players and so forth. So I think those are probably the three biggest things.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with Maine Softball at?
I'm not really a big social media person. I have a Twitter thing. I think it's at Mike Coutts. I have a Facebook account. In the softball one, they can just go to our website, www.goblackbears.com. And it'll have all our Twitter feed, Instagram, Facebook, and all those things are up. I don't think social media for me is a way for me to get my message across. And really what I do isn't really important to other people. I do go on to see what some kids are doing in the recruiting process. If we're recruiting them, I like to go see their social media and see what they're posting and things like that, because that's an integral part of the recruiting process. But social media certainly has its places, but I also know it's very deterrent to a lot of kids.
Thank you again, Coach Mike Coutts, for your interview, and best of luck in this upcoming season at Maine.
All right. I appreciate you having me on. Have a great day.
You too.
All
You
right.
can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.